We are the descendants of a bygone time of civilization, one whose achievements surpassed our wildest imaginations. They mastered technology, mapped the cosmos, and understood the intricate relationships within the natural world. Our ancestors traversed the globe, erecting colossal structures that reached toward the heavens. They built cities that rivaled modern metropolises, governed by a unified authority and united by shared beliefs. Yet, around 14,500 years ago, this global superpower began to crumble. Swift and merciless, the collapse came like an unstoppable force. In less than a week, everything changed. Almost everyone vanished, leaving behind only echoes of their once great civilization. Those who remained erected monuments not to gods or kings, but as warnings to future generations, to us. That warning is clear. Danger is imminent. Our civilization has faced extinction before, and it will face it again. This is a story that the powers of archaeology and world governments wish to bury, for it shatters the illusion of their control. Once you know the truth, you will never trust them again, because the danger that looms over us cannot be stopped by any government or institution. Traditionally, the agricultural revolution has been credited with igniting the spark of civilization, leading humanity from bands of hunter-gatherers to specialized societies. The conventional wisdom holds that the first cities emerged along the Fertile Crescent, epitomized by the ancient city-state of Uruk some 6,000 years ago. It's a narrative that seems to make perfect sense, a puzzle with all the pieces neatly fitting together, until we discovered Göbekli Tepe. For centuries, the locals of Turkey's Anatolia region whispered tales of a mystical hill rising quietly above the landscape, a place they called Potbelly Hill. It served as a haven for grazing sheep and cultivated fields, its ancient secrets hidden beneath the earth. In the 1960s, anthropologists from the University of Chicago and Istanbul University stumbled upon this enigmatic site, discovering flint and limestone artifacts, initially dismissed as a mere medieval cemetery. Its true significance remained veiled until 1994. German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt uncovered Göbekli Tepe's buried megaliths in 1994. Dating back to 9000 BCE, despite no visible settlement. Ancient tools and megaliths hinted at spiritual significance, sparking Schmidt's quest to unravel its mysteries. The site emerged unbelievable 12,000 years ago, just after the last ice age. Yet its creations surpassed their era. Unlike other famous discoveries, Göbekli Tepe's secrets remain largely concealed. Its 200 monoliths and 20 circular enclosures, some over 5 meters high, feature nightmare creatures. It surpassed even the wonders of Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids by a mind-boggling 7,000 years and a staggering 6,000 years before the emergence of ancient Sumer. The evidence was baffling. These ancient architects lacked even the most basic technologies. Unable to fashion pottery and seemingly untouched by the dawn of agriculture. According to mainstream archaeology, humans of that time were mere nomads, following the migration of animals and living in transient camps or rudimentary mud huts. The idea of them constructing massive, intricate stone structures was impossible, but Göbekli Tepe stood as a testament to the impossible. The more archaeologists delved deeper into the mystery of Göbekli Tepe, the more absurd and illogical everything seemed. Unveiled after millennia, the submerged chambers at Göbekli Tepe were discovered during mid-1990s excavations. Klaus Schmidt's preliminary assessment revealed no signs of domestic life, indicating these structures were not suitable for habitation. Unlike settlements like Navali Kori, Göbekli Tepe showed no evidence of settled agriculture. The structures built by hunter-gatherers were likely sanctuaries rather than homes. Göbekli Tepe may have served as a pilgrimage site akin to Greek Delphi or Peru's Cusco, where people gathered for ritual activities. The myriad carvings depict animals and symbols, suggesting a complex religious significance. Before the findings at Göbekli Tepe, in 1993, something unexpected was discovered by construction workers excavating in the Lal neighborhood of Urfa city center. From the wreckage of the foundation arose the ancient deep-water springs, now called the Pools of Abraham. Blank, lifeless eyes peered back. Prominently displayed today in the cutting-edge new museum at the heart of the city, the Urfa man stands at 1.8 meters tall, around 11,000 years old. It is the oldest, life-sized, naturalistic sculpture of a human ever discovered in the world. The sculptures at Göbekli Tepe offer a glimpse into the pre-pottery Neolithic world, starkly different from contemporary farming communities. Dominated by wild animal shapes, especially in enclosures A, B, C, D, E, and F. The site features prominently displayed male figures, often with prominent penises. Unlike farming communities, female figures are rare, with no Earth Mother figurines found. Enclosure C, known as the House of the Boars, showcases wild pigs in menacing poses. There are almost only male creatures. Human skulls, some with erect penises, are also represented alongside small cups. Stepping stones and inexplicable holes, possibly used for tiny fires at night. Interpretations range from a clan's cultic home to a depiction of monsters guarding the underworld's entrance. This landscape contrasts music, old artifacts, and animal remains unearthed. This begs the question, if no one lived there, why are these domestic items present? Further complicating matters is the site's water supply. Rock-cut cisterns and pools suggest a well-planned infrastructure, especially during the wetter boreal period 12,000 years ago, with nearby water sources likely available. It's conceivable that a small permanent staff resided on-site year-round, with the population swelling during festivals and monument construction. These findings challenge the notion of Göbekli Tepe as solely a ceremonial site. Could it be that this ancient place, shrouded in mystery, was once a bustling hub of human activity? The contrast between the absence of traditional domestic structures and the presence of everyday artifacts creates an unsettling question. What really happened at Göbekli Tepe? Despite the scarcity of human skeletal remains at Göbekli Tepe, the discovery of bone fragments, primarily skull pieces, offers a glimpse into ancient practices. Some show signs of defleshing and beheading, while others have holes drilled through them, suggesting settling rituals. These findings might be remnants of a revered ancestor cult, possibly linked to the 4,000-year-old cult of the skull at nearby Cayenne. Altars stained with blood hint at the possibility of human sacrifices, adding a darker dimension to the Göbekli mystery. By around 8200 BC, activity at Göbekli Tepe ceased abruptly. Whether it was a permanent settlement remains uncertain, with no conclusive evidence. The unsettling discoveries at Kaon imply widespread ritual practices that may have contributed to Göbekli Tepe's enigmatic end. At Göbekli Tepe, the final stone circle, adorned with human-shaped pillars, was deliberately buried under up to 3 meters of earth, resembling later Neolithic sites like Cataluk. Symbolically, the site seemed dead, with very little visible above ground. Theories about Göbekli Tepe's demise vary from violent conflict to drought or starvation, zoonotic diseases or societal changes with the advent of sedentism and agriculture. Meanwhile, the pillars depict gazelles galloping across the stones, their frequency suggesting significance beyond sustenance. Vultures, symbols of death and the afterlife, add a macabre layer to the site's mystery. Why did ancient people immortalize these creatures in stone? What rituals or beliefs do they hint at? Göbekli Tepe was not built by random primitives in the depths of the Stone Age. No, it was carefully made with a mysterious intent. The 4 circular cages, with diameters varying from 20 to 200 feet, were all precisely oriented toward Sirius, the far-off star. Throughout history, many societies have built temples around Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, but not 12,000 years ago, and yet here it was. The alignment of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, shifted gradually over a staggering period of 1100 years. But what is truly mind-boggling is that the builders of Göbekli Tepe meticulously constructed additional enclosures to correspond with each adjustment. It took knowledge of engineering, mathematics, and astronomy to construct these structures. This kind of project would also need expertise in division of labor and community planning administration. Big archaeology suggested that these abilities were not yet possessed by individuals in this era. It's as if Göbekli Tepe itself is daring us to rethink everything we thought we knew about the past. Hidden within the enigmatic enclosures of Göbekli Tepe stand the towering T-shaped pillars, some reaching a staggering 16 feet in height and weighing up to 10 tons. Despite the excavation of 43 pillars thus far, the story of Göbekli Tepe is far from over, because a mere 5% of the site has been uncovered. Recent advancements in technology have unveiled tantalizing glimpses of what lies beneath the surface. LiDAR imaging has revealed the presence of at least 15 to 20 additional structures and enclosures hidden beneath the earth, and more than 200 additional stone pillars. Something incredibly bizarre is unfolding with those stone pillars. Now etched upon them are images of people, animals, and fantastical human-animal hybrids. Gazelles, wild donkeys, boars, lions, foxes, and snakes, each meticulously carved into the ancient stone. The oldest pillars boast the most intricate carvings, showcasing a level of craftsmanship that seems impossible for their time. But it doesn't stop there. Among the images are depictions of creatures that defy logic and reason, blending human and animal features in ways that challenge the imagination. And as if that wasn't strange enough, The further we delve into the site, the simpler the designs become. It's as though technology and artistry materialized out of thin air, emerging a mind-boggling 6,000 years before the invention of writing. How did the builders come by this insight so quickly? The response to such a query is, however, debatable. Could it be that the dawn of human history stretches back even further than we've been led to believe? Perhaps Earth was once home to a vastly more sophisticated society before the last ice age. The indigenous hunter-gatherers were then taught mathematics and engineering by that civilization. In addition, they instructed these ape-like individuals to observe the sky closely and taught them astronomy. Then, these ancients taught the locals about the period before the Ice Age, when their civilization was at its height. This period is represented by Pillar 43 in Enclosure D, which has come to be known as the Vulture Stone. A thorough engraving on the Vulture Stone narrates the history of this prehistoric people. Regretfully, it also tells the tale of the end of the world. The Vulture Stone documents a rare star configuration visible from Göbekli Tepe during a 100-year window from 10,900 to 10,800 BC, roughly 13,000 years ago. This event occurred over 1,000 years before the site's construction, narrating a catastrophic episode known as the Younger Dryas. For 2.6 million years, the Ice Age enveloped the northern hemisphere in thick ice sheets and glaciers. Despite the cold, regions like Africa and the Middle East thrived in warm climates. As the Ice Age ended, rising temperatures and sea levels wreaked havoc on this stability. Around 12,900 years ago, the world plunged into a sudden, disastrous cold period. This brief ice age forced humanity to adapt rapidly. A millennium later, this cold spell ended violently, melting ice sheets within weeks and leaving societies devastated. Unable to cope with the rapid and catastrophic changes, in addition to assigning a date, the Younger Dryas impact on a comet is also depicted on the tablet. A headless sky connecting the date to death is located at the base of the pillar. A snake is also approaching from the south. There are many who claim that this symbolizes 3 enormous waves sweeping across Earth. Pillar 43 tells only part of the narrative. Those might have been the tsunamis that we know happened. More of the effects of the Younger Dryas are shown in Pillar 56, where animals are running and waves smashing. Now, if there's one thing that sends shivers down my spine at Göbekli Tepe, it's Pillar 18. It's not just eerie, it's downright chilling. And why? Well, for starters, it holds the distinction of being the only pillar on the entire site with a single word carved into it. It's God. I believe that something terrible happened, and this pillar represents a cry for assistance. Although the center of Pillar 18 in Enclosure D is the constellation Aquarius, its original center was probably Taurus. If so, that's a big piece of the puzzle that we now have discovered. In 1786, the typical ENG takes around 3 years to complete one full rotation of the Sun. ENG is a roughly 3 meters wide comet that is neither exceptionally large nor very small. The problem is that it was once much, much larger. About 20,000 years ago was a component of what scientists refer to as a megacomet, which was 100 meters wide and composed of glass, metal, and rock in addition to ice. and then the mega comet broke up. It sounds good? It's totally not. It's really bad. When the 100-mile mega comet broke up, a large debris field was created. The one mega comet has been supplanted by millions of smaller comets whose sizes vary from grains of sand to more than a mile in diameter. The people who lived at Göbekli Tepe would have seen a comet firestorm land on Earth when the globe passed through that debris cloud. All having their origins in the Aquarius constellation, as Pillar 43 shows. This is the scary part, though. The Tauride meteor shower, a debris field that has caused tremendous harm over the years, is something we've passed through every year. We're now going through it if you're reading this in June or July. The scientific community was compelled to admit that they had underestimated the early people as technological prowess before they did the first discovery of Göbekli Tepe on the Earth. And now we believe that Younger Dryas is not the only catastrophe wiping out almost all surfaces in the ancient world. And people belonging to Göbekli Tepe is not the only civilization possessing the technology to surpass the ages. Despite skepticism from mainstream archaeology, discoveries like the submerged city of Dwarka in India, dated to the Younger Dryas period, challenge conventional beliefs. Similarly, the sunken city off the coast of Cuba, possibly 50,000 years old, and the Bimini Road in the Bahamas raise questions about ancient civilizations. The notion of Mu, a lost continent connecting Greece to Easter Island, is dismissed. Yet linguistic similarities and the Yonaguni monument suggest otherwise. Durinkhu, once deemed a local myth, turned out to be a vast underground city sheltering 20,000 people. These findings challenge the notion that advanced cultures didn't exist before the flood, a theme found in numerous flood myths across civilizations. And that's why big archaeology says there was no advanced culture before the flood, because there's no evidence of it, except there it is. Long before Noah built the ark, there was a flood myth in every civilization, including the Epic of Gilgamesh, Norse legends, and those of the Inca, Aztec, Japanese, Chinese, Hawaiian, Australian, and Aboriginal peoples. While variations exist, the essence remains. A flood wipes out humanity due to misbehavior, with a few survivors starting anew. Some flood legends, like Atlantis, depict advanced pre-flood civilizations. Atlantis, a powerful island nation ruled by God-descended beings. But the people became corrupt, prompting the gods to sink the island into the ocean in a single day and night of catastrophic earthquakes and floods. Lemuria was a huge continent in the Pacific Ocean. Lemuria was home to a spiritually advanced civilization that was sometimes ally and sometimes enemy of Atlantis. And then there was Mu. Mu is a continent either in the Pacific Ocean or Indian Ocean. It was once inhabited by an advanced civilization. The survivors of Mu brought their wisdom and began the civilizations of ancient Egypt and the Maya. Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu are all similar stories in that they were highly advanced civilizations, all existing around 9600 BC, all destroyed by a great flood. But in all three stories, there are a few survivors. After the floodwaters recede and their homelands are destroyed, these survivors seek refuge on the mainland. The people they find are kind but primitive, so the survivors grant them the gift of civilization. Enki teaches the Sumerians agriculture, writing, law, and all knowledge crucial for civilization. Quetzalcoatl, also associated with water, brought civilization to the Aztecs. In Egyptian, Polynesian, Japanese, Chinese, Norse, Hawaiian, Native American, there's a godlike teacher who comes from the sea to help restart civilization. And these saviors or teachers, or whatever you want to call them, they all appear after the Great Flood at the end of the Younger Dryas. And they all transfer wisdom and knowledge to the primitive people that they meet and restart civilization. Further evidence suggests that tribes all around the world appear to have been taught the same things. For instance, while everyone knows that Sirius is the brightest star in the sky, both ancient and modern cultures still refer to it as a wolf or a dog. Sirius was known as the dog star that leads in ancient Iraq. It was called the heavenly wolf in China. It was called the dog of the sun by the Assyrians and Akkadians. And when native tribes in North America referred to Sirius, they mostly used dog terms such as dog that follows mountain sheep or wolf star. It makes sense that most cultures would venerate the brightest stars in the sky. But it seems like a strange coincidence that they all refer to the same star as a wolf or a dog. And Göbekli Tepe has built an entire complex dedicated to the star Sirius, and within the complex, 10-ton stone pillars that tell the story of man, the fire from the sky, the flood that swallows the earth, and of civilization given a second chance. The pillars also offer a warning for future generations, for us. All that has happened before will happen again. The builders gave symbols on stones and told us to watch the sky. They showed us the constellations to study. They gave us the exact date of the last disaster so we could prepare for the next one, because there's always a next one. The world crumbles under the weight of a cataclysmic event. A meteor strike vaporizes everything in its path, triggering earthquakes and volcanic eruptions along every major fault line. Coastal cities vanish into the sea, while inland cities from Chicago to New Orleans are wiped out by seismic activity. A monstrous storm, the air blasts with winds over 1,000 miles per hour, obliterates everything in its path, reducing even sturdy stone buildings to rubble. In the aftermath, wildfires rage for thousands of miles around the impact point, scorching the land. A fireball hotter than the sun engulfs the landscape, launching molten rock into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun for months. If the meteor strikes the ocean, a towering tsunami sweeps across the land at 500 miles per hour, reshaping coastlines and leaving millions dead or displaced. This nightmare scenario, though unimaginable, has historical precedents. Comet strikes, mega tsunamis, and earthquakes have devastated civilizations before. The aftermath is a desolate wasteland. Every object larger than a basketball buried under mud 1,000 feet deep, as survivors grapple with the extent of the devastation. It becomes clear that life will never be the same again, ushering in a future of uncertainty and despair. Yet, despite the overwhelming evidence of such cataclysms in myths and legends from cultures around the world, mainstream archaeology remains skeptical. They demand tangible proof, but how much evidence could possibly survive such an apocalypse? The book of Revelation that could be interpreted as impacts, And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Revelation 6. That sounds exactly like the impact I described earlier. The stars fall to the earth, the darkness, the mighty wind, and an earthquake strong enough to move mountains. Similar accounts can be found in Indian texts like the Vedas and the Mahabharata, describing celestial events and weapons that resemble the destructive power of comets and meteors. Even more chilling are the petroglyphs and cave paintings that depict celestial objects with multiple tails. Possibly the torrid meteor swarm responsible for periodic impacts throughout history. The Lascaux caves in France, with their haunting depictions of dying men and animals, may be a warning from our ancestors of the dangers lurking in the skies. Gigantic elephants burnt by that weapon fell all around, uttering fierce cries loud as those of the clouds. Other huge elephants, scorched by that fire, ran hither and thither and roared aloud in fear, as if in the midst of a forest conflagration. Mahabharata, Book 7. And these dangers are not just relics of the past. The impact of a comet in 536 AD, confirmed by ice core samples, cooled the Earth over 5 and had global ramifications. More recent events like the Tunguska event in 1908 remind us that these cosmic threats are not confined to the distant past. Perhaps the vulture stone at Göbekli Tepe is not just a relic of the past, but a warning for the present. The torrid comets pass by Earth every year from September to November, and their peak on November 5th of 2024 poses a potential danger. The stone symbols may serve as a reminder of the cyclical nature of cosmic disasters, urging us to be vigilant and prepared. And maybe that's the story being told on the vulture stone at Göbekli Tepe. Not the story of what happened in the past, but the potential danger we face. As we gaze into the abyss of uncertainty, the echoes of these ancient warnings leave us haunted by the ominous question: when will the next catastrophe strike? And will we be prepared to face it? We are but travelers on a journey through time, caught between the echoes of the past and the uncertainty of the future. The mysteries of Göbekli Tepe and the prophecies of Pillar 43 beckon us to ponder our fate, to question our place in the universe. As we gaze into the abyss of the unknown, one thing is certain: the obsession with our future has only just begun.